Let's move on to another quarterback that is going to make some headlines this offseason. Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are coming off of a divisional loss to the Rams. Final score was 27-30. Rams winning that game. And, for a while there, the score got out of hand. It was 27-3. The Buccaneers rallied back to tie up 27-27. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, it's happening all over again, right? The Buccaneers are going to win this game and go to the NFC Championship game. But unfortunately, they didn't. Now, after the game, actually, let's back up. Before the game, reports that came out through, Ian Rappaport and Adam Schefter that kind of indicated that Tom Brady is considering retirement. This could be his last game as a Tampa Bay Buccaneer or as an NFL player in general. After the game, Tom Brady had his press conference and he had comments about this isn't the time for me to talk about that. I'll reevaluate everything in the offseason. And then he had more comments last night on his podcast that alluded to the fact that, he wants to spend more time with his family. It takes a lot out of his personal life to be a football player 6 months out of the year where it's wall to wall sports and he doesn't even get to see his family as much. So, the reason why we're talking about this is, I always thought that Tom Brady would have to be dragged off a football field. He'd be one of those guys that, at 45, 46, if he's still out there, he'll play. And eventually he'll have injuries that will lead to a messy, image of us, of Tom Brady being dragged off the football field to retirement. However, this is the first time in my mind that Tom Brady has even opened the idea of retirement up. He's bringing it up. He's talking about it. In the past, when we talk about, retirement, he'd be like, no, I'm playing to 45. Let's not even continue that conversation. But now, and I think this is where it might be a little real, and maybe it's starting to dawn on me as a Brady fan that, hey, this might be his last game. And I truly don't want to think about it because I need more information as the weeks come along. But I am concerned at the fact that he's talking this much about retirement. You feel me? Because, for so long, it was something he wouldn't even entertain because he was trying to get to 45.
For sure. And, Jay, we were talking about this offline. If you look through like the, annals of the season, right? Like there were discussions between like the media and Tom Brady about like, oh, you're gonna come back next year. This was like even before training camp started. And he was like adamant, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. He was adamant. I'm playing out the 2 years. We'll
Mm-hmm.
discuss like a contract extension. I think I could play longer than, X amount of years, whatever.
Yes, sir.
And then, Ian Rappaport and Adam Schefter and Jeff Darlington, rather, of ESPN as well, too, they started floating out the idea about like maybe 4 hours before kickoff that Tom Brady might actually consider walking away. Now, Jay, call this tinfoil hat theory. I don't think this is an accident. I kind of get the vibe that maybe he is done with the Bruce Arians sideshow, let's call it.